Gabba gabba, hey Drunken Cox fans, this is Hickory the Drunken Underwhelming from the Drunken Under Quarantine Show, and we're here to announce that you have found and stumbled upon our show. We're very happy to have you. If you found this on podcast platforms, you will be sorely disappointed in the magic entertainment. However, the video will be uploaded to YouTube and Facebook. Remember, this show is an adult show, contains adult content. Have fun, stay safe, stay drunk, stay underwhelming. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I am, of course, Hickory the Drunken Underwhelming. You have stumbled upon the Drunken Under Quarantine Show. It's episode 20. We got Matt Ferguson on the couch, and it's been a long week. We got a lot of shit to talk about, too. Let's get it. Welcome back. It's me, Hickory the Drunken Underwhelming. We found the Drunken Under Quarantine Show, presented to you by the Woolen Comedy Club. Tonight, I'm back with Collen, GW, and of course, Matt Ferguson is on the couch. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking about, of course, we're going to talk about the dress. Everybody's got to talk about the goddamn dress. Then we're going to talk about some important shit like hospitals. We're also going to talk about Joe Biden getting trolled by some school kids. We're going to talk about an article where a lady insisted that comedy isn't dying or white privileges. And finally, we're going to land on the Bee of the Week, where we're going to get into talking about George Bush and how the media has been very glowing about him, and it's fucking weird. Knock it off, CNN. Anyways, that's the intro. Welcoming to the spotlight stage, my man, my comrade, a guy that's always there for me. Please welcome Mr. GW Foley.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. I was minding my own business. What is up, motherfuckers? It is Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, 8:02 on the dot. Oh, fucking love it! I fucking love it. I have been looking forward to this since last week. That is how much this show fucking rocks. I got some things to say. They're not going to be pretty. But I'm going to say them anyways because I'm not a pretty fellow. Oh, hey, look. And I just got my YouTube alert for the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
It does work.
We're live on YouTube. Fuck yeah. So I'm still in the process of quitting smoking, which is sucking dick. I never realized how much cigarettes have mean to me in my life. They're fantastic. I wish them nothing but love in the future. That's what they need. I feel bad for like all the fact that like the smoking age is going up to 21. You have like all these like school programs saying not to do tobacco and tobacco is bad for you. I feel bad for those kids who are never going to get a chance to know what it's like to smoke a cigarette. I mean, some of the best moments in my life were from smoking cigarettes, like talking to girls, like hanging out at clubs, talking to bands afterwards, hanging out, pissing off old people. Like, my favorite moment of smoking was I was at a restaurant once. I wasn't working. I was there as a guest and went to have a cigarette because it was a function, and the function was taking a while. So I go outside to the side of the restaurant by the kitchen doors, and I'm smoking there. This old lady who is a complete crack, like she is a fucking ass, sees me, looks at me, walks towards me, and starts coughing. It's like, you were fine 20 feet ago. You didn't have to get this close to me to get into your car. I just kept going. I was like, you know what? Fuck you. You're dumb enough to get this close to me. I purposely stayed away from all major entrances. My other favorite smoking memory was I was at a stoplight one day, had a cigarette going in my car, and some guy pulled down with his windows open and looked at me and said, "Stop smoking." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's really going to help me quit. Thank you for yelling at me." "Oh, stop smoking. I didn't think of that. Holy shit, mister, you just saved my life." School has been frustrating lately. I feel like I'm not getting enough done during the day and making me put in extra hours, which, dude, I didn't sign up for CCV to get fucking extra hours going. Like, there's a reason why I'm going to community college and not real school. Like, I want the laid back, yeah, you can turn it in, like whenever. Not like, you have a deadline of 2 days, motherfucker. Do it or die. I have to talk about the elephant in the room. A person that I have looked up to in comedy has passed away. Norm Macdonald. It was really sad for me realizing that I'm never going to hear another Norm Macdonald joke ever from him. And then I realized that's not true. I got fucking YouTube. He's alive forever. Like, it's like Carlin. Like, I miss some Carlin. Let's put some stuff on. And the plus side is he left such a legacy that isn't going to be fucked up now because he does something stupid. like that he's pretty much, I'm not going to say untarnished because he has fucked up sometimes, which we all do. I've had my moments where I've said some fucked up things and promptly apologized. Not really. I just let it go under the rug. And hopefully no one notices until like 20 years later when I'm trying to be famous and they're like, "Oh, he said this one thing on an internet show." Yeah. That's kind of it. Let's turn it over to Collen and see how he's doing.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Hey.
Good evening, sir.
Good to see everybody. Sorry I wasn't able to be on the show last week. I was going to try to broadcast from the U.S. Open. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Didn't work out. But was able to go to the U.S. Open for tennis, which it's always a fun event here in New York. You realize that tennis and golf behave much different than all your other professional sports, right? Because they're sports that require etiquette. Yes, etiquette. Yes. You sit down when you're supposed to sit down. You got to be quiet in between games. I walked up to try to get into my seat, and this guy said to me, "You don't go till the end of the game." The game takes a long time. It's like 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck? And I want to go sit down in my seat. I'm up in the nosebleeds. Like, that makes any difference at all. Like, me sitting in my seat 300 feet above the tennis match, is really going to change this guy's serve, And it's like, have you seen what we do to professional basketball players? where they're trying to shoot a foul shot, where like blowing horns and like waving, like this is like what the guys are looking into.
Good point.
Got to be quiet. This is tennis, tennis. Quiet. Quiet.
Yes, tennis.
Yes, before you go to your nosebleeds, I was like, give me a fucking break, Then my favorite thing is everyone has to be vaccinated to come in, and they have the big roof open, They spent $150 million on this roof. That's a retractable roof. So the roof is open. So you didn't need to have a mask. But later in the night, the weather got a little changed, and we're going to close the roof. So now everyone needs to put their masks on. Like somehow, if you were sitting courtside in the $500 seat next to a person without a fucking mask on, and they coughed or sneezed on you, somehow that roof that's open, hundreds and hundreds of feet above your head, somehow that's going to change the situation. We have the roof dome open. You don't need a mask. Now it's closed. You need a mask. I am all one for, whatever, but if anyone could try to quantify this, I'm saying this, somehow there is a sunroof to sneezing ratio. I would love to see that. It was 9/11 this past week, 20 years.
Woo!
Yep, we did it. I do not understand the never forget. I have to be honest. I do not understand this one. I'm not sure who came up with never forget, but I probably could have come up with something better. The whole way we addressed 9/11 is very, very strange to me. It's showing these images year after year. Never forget. Never forget the time that those buildings blew up in the middle of the biggest city in America. Never forget it. Never forget. Like there's some things I will forget, I don't know if I'm going to forget 9/11. That's not like a really forgettable thing, where you're like, what are you talking about? Oh, that time that like thousands of innocent people died or were murdered in America. Oh, I forgot about that one. Like, like Pearl Harbor, they didn't come out of Pearl Harbor like never forget. We never forgot because 3,000 fucking people died. That's how you don't forget. It's a weird thing when a bunch of people die a horrific death. Usually you don't forget it. It's a weird thing. And it's like, I don't understand in one other situation this would be relevant. Because like if you knew someone who died that day, which a lot of people do, would you show, like, let's just say you have a friend, her name's Karen, right? And Karen's mom was horrifically mangled in a car accident, right? Would every year that accident took place, would you take a picture of that and show Karen and be like, never forget, Karen, never forget. Your mom was killed in a car accident. Never forget it, Karen. Always remember the tragedy, which was your mother's car accident. Never forget it. It's like, yeah, I didn't plan on forgetting it. I don't know if I needed the constant remember, And year after year, like then Karen, only 364 days go by, and maybe she's just starting to forget how her mom died. And then everybody on social media is like, never forget, Karen. Never forget how she died. I don't know if is this the mental health of sane people? I don't know. Is this the normal behavior of a sane society? I don't know if it is. And I don't know if it's never forget, but at a certain point, there has to be like a forgive and move on, right? Like, no matter how, like, even like Bruce Wayne at a certain point in his life, like, yeah, I know that guy like shot my parents in an alleyway, but like, fucking hey, I gotta get on with my life. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a point in your life where you accept and move on, and I don't know if like never forget for like 20 fucking years since I was 13 years old. I've been told like never forget. Like at what point is it like, you know, accept and move on? You know, like we need another maybe like mental health motto for 9/11. I don't know. You know, I think it's great that we 20 years later care about Afghanistan. This is a remarkable I don't know what happened. All of a sudden we care about Afghanistan. It's this place that a lot of people have never heard of apparently. But you know, that's kind of it. You know, 9/11's like Christmas. You know, it's like you feel like you know more than finished it up, and all of a sudden you're right back into another 9/11 season. You're kind of wondering what point is different.
When do you stop milking the cow?
When you stop milking the cow, you know. I don't know if I'm ever going to stop milking the cow because I've noticed I look like shit. But instead of changing my lifestyle, I'm just going to change my wardrobe. You know, why would I change? Why would I change anything about me? And I can change everything I wear. And that seems like an easier solution. You know, left up to I need someone like, you know, it would be nice if I had like a life coach, you know what I mean? So someone was like, get in there and just flank right, Collen. That would be good for you.
Flank right.
There was
Sweep the leg.
There was a very famous skier, and her name was Peekaboo Street, I believe was her name.
Yep.
And Peekaboo her name was Peekaboo because her parents were hippies that they were way beyond the gender identity. They were like, we don't think you should be given a name until you just pick it yourself. They were like, why would anybody give you a name when you can just pick your own name when you're old enough? So Peekaboo, well, she picked Peekaboo was what she picked, and which is not really a name; it's a game. But yeah, Peekaboo, yeah, she went her own way on that. If I could have like picked my own name, my name wouldn't be Collen. It'd be like Cuckoo Chicken. Like it would be like some crazy shit, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden people be like, who's that kid from Bridgewater? Who you talking about? Cuckoo Chicken? Cuckoo Chicken, he does shit his own way. Okay? He was raised by hippies. He never adhered to anything. Apparently identifies as a chicken. Who knew it? That's a whole another curveball.
I love this comment of it's so random. I can sign and I want 30 packages of ketchup. Thank you, Nick. We appreciate our fan base.
I think it's interesting. To me, I feel like someone was asking me about acting, and I felt like it was a very logical occupation for me to go into, you know, because the second I heard that there was a job out there which all you had to do was like appear smart. That was just hook, line, and sinker for me. You know, I was like, wouldn't it be better if say, opposed to going to medical school, I could just come out and be like, "Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. My name's Dr. Doyle. Unfortunately, got some bad news for you. See, like I don't want to have to know what I'm saying. I just want to sound smart while I'm saying it. That's all I'm looking for." You ever noticed how baseball games are basically just very long Bud Light commercials? Like you'll just be watching a baseball game, and I'd be like, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's bottom of the sixth, and Rodriguez is going to take the plate tonight. Brought to you in part by Bud Light. Stay thirsty." That's going to be a swing and a miss for Rodriguez, without missing a beat. Just. I got to work on that. That's
we have our Bud Light cam at the catcher's whatever,
Yeah, there's something there. I mean, I feel like as long as I keep doing it on the show, maybe at some point I'll be struck with some moment of genius where I get the punchline.
That just reminded me of the Real Man of Genius.
Real man of genius.
Real man of genius.
I miss those commercials so bad.
Well, it's funny because there's a rule of comedy where the C word is like anything, not the C word. That'd be weird. The C word is the holy grail of comedy. Whether or not people want to get on board for that or not, that's up to you. But it is.
Well, I don't think it's a problem in the UK. I'll just say that at all. It's every other word.
Yeah, dude, it's one funny cunt, mate. But it's like they say any word that has this like a cuss sound or C sound in it is funnier. So if you said, like you drove, like I got in a car and I drove all day and I landed in Baltimore, wouldn't be as funny as if you said, like I got in my car, I drove all day and I landed in Cleveland, So I have like a brilliant move for Bud Light and they can take it or not. But I think we should change their name to Bud Light. And just start hitting the C in it, man. Like, why not? It's funnier, Tonight's game brought to you in part by Bud Light. Stay thirsty. No one's going to even pick up on it, and they're just going to like it more. You're welcome, Bud Light. This one's for you. But that's basically been my week in reflection. Great 9/11, great U.S. Open, great week in New York all around. Kill me now. I'm gonna kick this over to the main reason we all get together every week, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, it's Hickory, the drum, and Underwhelming. Give it up.
Oh, thank you guys for being here. This is awesome. I'm glad we have a full house. Thank you for everybody who joined in. Dwayne, Jason, and Nick are having all sorts of comments up in here that we'll go over in the second half. But I'm actually, the first rule of magic is you never repeat a trick twice, but it was just GW and I last week, and I wanted to share this one with Matt. And I thought about it because I don't do many tricks that bend space-time and get conspiratorial and shit. And I thought Matt would be a good. So Matt, here's the deal: we have two kings, right?
Yeah.
We've got what appears to be a red card squarely in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that red card doesn't exist yet. I know it looks like it's there, but that card, in fact, does not exist. What we're going to do is we're going to riffle down a little bit, and I am fairly going to put those cards there. And so when I riffle, you'll be able to see that, in fact, they are
indeed
right about there.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do for the next part is we're only going to take the bottom half of the pack. So I'm going to set the top half with the kings off to the side. I'm going to go through the bottom, and I'm going to ask you to name a card that you see.
Just yell it out loud?
Yep, because we're going to sign it anyway. So
all right.
Whatever you
keep
if you
shuffling.
If you see one you like in there.
3 of spades.
Oh, almost. I'm still getting the hang of the camera thing here. Okay, so we're going to take that 3 of spades. that. And since it wouldn't be fair if I just wrote Matt on it because I knew you were going to be on the show beforehand, Matt, I'd like you to name a random name. Like it could be anything. It could be an artist. It could be a combination of names. It could be two names. It could be a symbol, a number, anything that I wouldn't have thought about before the show.
Let's do a figure 8.
Okay. Now, Hickory is easily the worst artist, especially on cards. Let me try that right on the desk. My goodness. There we go. Kinda. It kind of looks more like two boobs, but that is.
Okay, got it.
Okay, I'm going to go just a little darker because it was a little hard to spot on there.
There you go. That's good right there. Yeah.
Okay, so if we were to take that and shuffle it in to the bottom set of cards, your signed card would be lost. And if we were to pick up the top part, set the bottom part down, we could go through real quick and actually look. Sorry, I'm still getting angles here. Look and find the kings and the red card, which is where we started.
Right.
So, as I said before, Matt, that red card never existed. And what I really meant was that red card didn't exist yet.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is if we take that card out now, that card would be your 3 of spades with a figure 8 down on it. Nice. So that's I thought that would be a little fun piece, and I really enjoyed that. Thank you. Nothing too crazy. Oh, Nick put a boobs in the comment. So yeah, that's definitely coming in. Thank you, Nick. I do like boobs. Anyways, without further ado, we're going to welcome to our spotlight stage our guest of the evening. Please welcome back to the show, Mr. Matt Ferguson. Matt, welcome.
Hey. How's it going, y'all?
Woo! So, awesome.
Colin, I do have to say something about something you said earlier about Batman, the analogy. I think it's wrong because Batman never let go, bro. That's why he became Batman. He just constantly beat people up and, ad nauseum, you know what I'm saying? Like, until, I don't know, when he's retired. Did he ever die in the comic books? I don't think so.
He got his back broken a couple times.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
There was, I think, the guy who does the Sin City comics. He did a pretty awesome Dark Knight series where Batman is super old and he's trying to retire, and but the Joker is sort of still out there doing his thing or whatever else, and and he's taking steroids and all these things trying to keep himself up or whatever else. But it's a pretty interesting series. That's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, I mean, even then. He never stopped, bro. He never gave up.
It's a good point. Giving Bruce Wayne as the martyr of forgive and forget might not be the.
Everything else is good. Everything else is good. I had to throw that one out there.
See, that's why I don't use comic book references in my material. There's always some nerd going, well, actually.
Actually.
Yeah, so the state of comedy today. Unfortunately, we lost a great one this week, and losing Norm Macdonald. He was probably one of my favorite as far as SNL Weekend Update. He just there's something about the way he delivered the Weekend Update which was just amazing to me. His ass made me laugh every single week. There were some pretty good ones, but like Norm, he was up there for a long time too, wasn't he?
Not really.
No.
He's just so iconic that it seemed like
right. He just
it was only like a year or so.
That's a good point because you had Kevin Nealon on there I felt for years.
Kevin Nealon seemed to be on there for a long time. And
yeah,
Colin
for a real
Quinn
long time.
Well.
Yep.
And Colin Quinn was right around the same time, but Norm Macdonald was on there. I would have said maybe for 2 or 3.
I think it was there during the golden years. You know what I mean? When they had Mike Myers and all those guys in all at the same time. Because I know he was definitely part of that crew with Dana Carvey and Adam Sandler and Chris Rock and that whole group of people. But yeah, that's it makes you want to go back and be like watch some of those like old '90s SNL shows. It'd be cool if like they could actually have some kind of like archived something. You know what I'm saying? To go back and like check those out because like a lot of those old sketches are really hilarious. But the only thing you can get are these like little like portion DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever else. Well, they'll give you like highlights and things like that, which are all right, but like. I don't know. You would think having all that content, they would do something with it, but exactly.
Somewhere once upon a time was an entire stack of VHSs of every single thing.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a couple segments they broadcasted on Comedy Central, and I recorded them. So I have the Bad Boys account, and my mom probably got rid of them. Damn it, Mom.
Or she taped over it with something else,
God damn it.
But yeah, I mean, as far as I go, like, we do socially irresponsible comedy or whatever else, and at YouTube, we haven't published anything in probably more than a year now, just because of all this COVID stuff, and everybody's sort of, getting in their own little sections and doing their own thing or whatever else. So. But we tried to shoot a skit this year that was kind of based around the banning of the Dr. Seuss books. And so the whole sketch was written like a Dr. Seuss book, in total rhyme scheme, and it had to do with like censorship, but it had to do with a bunch of other things sort of all like thrown into it. And what it was that Mecca was on the street selling illegal Dr. Seuss books for various Dr. Seuss junkies that needed to get their, banned books or whatever else. And we had Ryan Kenyon, we had a bunch of other people up there. But unfortunately, the camera took a nosedive to the pavement and stopped that whole shoot right dead in its tracks. So unfortunately, we don't have that to share. But it would have been a good one.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, it happens. What are you gonna do? So yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to hopefully getting some stuff going soon. Mecca is not in the state at the moment, but he is not too far. So hopefully we'll get some sketches going on, and maybe get some of you guys involved if we can get you guys, rounded up and organized or whatever else. So otherwise, I'll kick it back to you guys. I know we got some things to discuss.
Nice. This is the part where at home, turn your volume down. It's the drawing part. Are you not awake? Because I'm fucking awake now.
I'm not in my square. Oh, there we go.
Sorry. It was like the, I thought it was going to work right there, and it just didn't. And anyways, Matt, welcome to the show, man. It's good to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Make sure to change his name to Turd. Turd Ferguson?
Ferguson.
From the Jeopardy?
We lost a fucking...
God damn it. Why didn't I think of that earlier?
I'm sorry, so the time is your turn, Ferguson.
Hello, I am Turd Ferguson, reporting.
We had some banger comments in the intro sections. Nick responding to GW talking about how cigarettes are awesome. He said they have joints now. Dwayne said R.I.P. His Burt Reynolds was amazing. Yeah, I've actually been hunting through YouTube and watching some Norm Macdonald videos, and it's been great.
Oh my god, his Burt Reynolds was fucking just next level shit.
You guys ever watch the fucking Brody Lee, not Brody Lee, Jason Lee show, the Earl,
yeah, yep. Right, yeah,
whatever that. My name is Earl. There we go.
That's what it was.
Norm Macdonald guest starred in that on a couple episodes.
Yeah, I remember
and it
that.
was the entire Burt Reynolds character that he did. And it was so fucking amazing.
Why would I do another character when I already got the Burt Reynolds? I'll watch Stockton Barrel.
Jason commented and said one of my favorite Norm Macdonald movies is Screwed, and he was fucking great on the Bob Saget roast. Yeah, there were some killer roasts, man.
Yeah, the Bob Saget roast.
Maybe his comedy special that came out, I don't know, maybe within the last 10 years, maybe around 2013, something like that, was so fucking funny. Oh my God. That was like, he talked about the news and he talked about, old men dying. And it was just brilliant.
We're going to get right into the first topic if you guys are okay with that.
Yep.
First off, how the drunk is this news? Sure, guys, we'll talk about the dress. For anybody who didn't know, AOC's headline news because she wore this ugly dress that says tax the rich, but it's really just a white dress with some letters on it. And this became a giant fucking deal because she wore this in front of a bunch of rich people, I guess was the point. I'm not entirely sure why you attend rich people shit and protest the rich people that you're attending with. Maybe that was part of the thing.
Brave.
Collen might have a better as our resident lefty. He might have a better reasoning to this. I'm not sure.
So basically the event was the Met Gala, and her designer, the Met Gala is an event for the Metropolitan Art Museum. It doesn't really pertain to the opera. And generally, it's a philanthropic evening. People pay a lot of money to attend this event. The money goes to subsidize the Met. The Met ticket price is whatever you can afford to give. So I've always liked that with the Met. It's a very accessible museum to go to. As a New Yorker, you can go there. You can see all this wonderful stuff for $5, $1, whatever you can afford to give. They give a recommendation, but they don't hold you to it. And it's kind of paid for by the city. It's one of the few things that the city does that you actually feel the effects of it. Like, wow, I can go to the Met and it's not going to cost me $50, So her designer actually asked her to do this, asked her to attend and wear this dress. She didn't necessarily come up with a dress, her designer did. That gives you a ticket to attend it because you're like the model of this dress, because it's about fashion as well. It's New York Fashion Week is just wrapping up on Sunday, I believe was the last day. So she got given a ticket. She was able to go. She wore the dress. Everybody said, well, she's paid us $35,000 to attend. Why is she there? Why is she wearing the dress? And the point is, right now, the bill that the Democrats are putting forward focuses on, increasing capital gains, which really is kind of like a loophole that a lot of hedge funds in New York have gotten away with by paying 15% capital gains. So a lot of hedge funds haven't paid a lot of taxes. And there's a lot of much higher people than just middle class and upper middle class. There's a lot of loopholes higher up that right now they're trying to tax. So I would say the whole picture of it is kind of benign. I think, to me, it's cool to see someone like her and her trajectory to be invited to an event like that and be able to be asked to, model a dress like that. And by becoming, using her political, progression as a public figure and all this stuff, I think is cool. Because it's definitely an elite event. And for her to be there with the dress, I understand some people say it undermines anti-capitalist. If you're an anti-capitalist, it almost makes fun of an anti-capitalist because you're saying tax the risk, but really you're at this bougie event. But I think at the end of the day, if we can accept as Americans, especially the people who have done so well in America, that it's their time to pay more in taxes, and we socially accept that idea, opposed to feeling like you're a fucking idiot if you pay taxes, that could be a good thing. So my thought is, the left point, good on AOC, fun dress selection, what a way to be controversial.
G-Dubs, what do you got? What are you thinking?
I thought it made her ass look fat.
It actually gave her some booty. I was wondering if there was a little bit of padding up in it.
Here's the thing. I'm all for, I fuck the rich,
Yep.
Fuck them. They're worthless.
Hey, they're doing a pretty good job at running our planet into the ground right now.
Yeah,
you got to give them credit. At least they're doing it well.
They're doing that well.
They're making a lot of money.
Yeah, they're making a fuck ton of money.
I I understand the idea of fundraising for the Met, and I get that. I don't know, man. If I had an extra $35,000 just hanging out, chilling, I don't think I would go to the Met Gala. I don't like the fact that none of them were wearing masks. Like she could have worn, like she had a matching purse.
The servants were.
Yeah, I was gonna say her staff was.
Yeah, but that was it. Like everyone else who was rich and had, there was also other dresses there that had lefty undertone messages written on them, which it reminds me of Marie Antoinette going, "Let them eat cake." Like just the idea that like they try really hard, but they are so out of touch with what's going on in America, and I think AOC knows what's going on in America, and I just don't think she's practical enough to do something about it.
None of them are.
Well, and that's very true. Like, she's at least trying, so I'll give her credit for trying.
No, I agree. I think it's pretty amazing that she came up from the bottom and is now a politician / social media star.
Yeah.
I mean, like she live streams and there's people paying attention. You know what I mean? She has been very effective in her messaging and reaching out to people and being, well, once you get past 1 million subscribers or followers, you're probably not that accessible, but you feel like you are because, you know, she responds to live chats and answers questions and stuff, yeah, which I commend as a person who would like to see my own constituents be maybe like a little more tech savvy, but they can't because they're almost in a nursing home. Yeah, I would like to see that in the future. But Matt, what'd you think?
I mean, to me, a lot of this is just political theater. Like so much of what
that's almost everything.
So much of what she does is political theater. I'm sorry to say. I mean, like there was a video where not too long ago they had, I think, a couple dozen people who were protesting the rent moratorium. And just to the whole point of you saying that she answers questions on her live stream, I'm sure she answers questions she wants to answer on her live stream. Agreed. Because on this video, she had all these supporters there, and it was with Cori Bush as well. And the person recording it was asking her real questions, who was there as a supporter, but asking her questions. And they basically... It was like, oh, yeah, I'll address that. And then eventually they just were like, oh, we need to turn on the music. And then they turned on this music and all started dancing. And it's kind of like, it's just like, okay. It's like, y'all want to do this whole like social media thing where she's sitting there talking and looking like she's this accessible person, which there's really not much of a crowd. And as somebody who is a media person, you know, went to film school and understands, let's just say the responsibility, because there's responsibility in media, which I think ethically has gone out the window.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is that like when you go to film school, like they teach you how to essentially manipulate people's emotions, right? Yep. Because that's the entire thing about creating a story and engaging a character and all these things. And not only do you learn it through that storycraft, but you learn it through juxtaposition of images and certain things. And it's like, to me, I look at a lot of this stuff, and as a political atheist, is what I like to call myself. I don't subscribe to any political party because none of these political parties will ever encapsulate everything that I think. You know, I like to lean in different directions, and there are certain people I think are much better politicians than others, even though those are as rare as winning the lottery. Oh yeah, but they exist, and like. You know, as consistent as they may be, I think we have to. I think people have to realize that we live in a system that's completely captured by the corporate state. I mean, if that's not obvious in every possible way to people nowadays, I would say they need to wake the F up because this is some bullshit.
This message brought to you on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah,
So.
and it's just kind of like, it's one of those things where, like, I mean, regulatory capture and like all these things, like, you know, and it's been going on for decades for people who've been talking about it for decades, but none of these people are ever on the news. And it's just one of those deals where it's like, those of us that have seen like a lot of this stuff going on, like, I mean, one of the reasons I moved to Vermont so I could buy land, grow my own food, which I'm, you know, every year is better and better. And it's just one of those things. Like, I look at this kind of stuff and I'm like, this dress changes nothing. It creates a conversation about stuff that doesn't matter at all. While at the same time, you have things like the Federal Reserve, pumping out $6 trillion in a year and a half. And like, I mean, what is this? This is ridiculous. Tax the rich. And then not only that, but the $3.2 trillion budget that they're trying to, this stimulus thing they're trying to put out. One of the things is they want to actually monitor people's accounts to see if it goes over $600. That is an attack on you and me and every poor person in this country. So when she wears a dress like that to a thing like the Met, and this is what people are talking about, but everyone wants to ignore the fact that the banks, our banks are trying to push back against the government on this. But this isn't a blip on the news. People don't even know that their bank accounts are about to be monitored. $600 is or more. This is how they're gonna. The IRS is gonna watch over your shit. Like, this is outrageous. And but hey, let's all talk about AOC's dress and how it sends this fake ass message. So that's my opinion. You know.
Fair. My message was it made me hungry because I couldn't stop thinking about a Chick-fil-A bag.
Amen.
No. Real talk. I saw a picture of it where I really agreed. Where somebody had taken the dress and put on taxation as theft. Yeah. And I was like, yo, if she had worn that to the Met Gala, I would have been like, fuck yeah, you're punk rock as fuck. Because that's my stance is taxation is money people take from you at gunpoint. You don't know it.
Yeah, it's the
worst. We're going to move right into the next one. You guys ready? Hospitals say, we ain't having babies no more. This is a fucking crazy story. New York hospital to pause delivering babies after staffers quit rather than get vaccinated. So yeah, there's some framing issues on this bad beast of a bitch from New York NBC News. But basically, after September 24th, a bunch of staffers are walking out due to vaccine mandates, and I mean, these people were just heroes 10 months ago.
Good on them for doing that.
Dancing in their TikTok videos, and now they're getting fired because they don't need a vaccine. It's something they're probably naturally immune to from working in a fucking hospital through a pandemic. But maybe that's me, and I'm wrong. I'm not a doctor or a financial advisor or a lawyer, so don't come to the Drunken Under Quarantine show for financial advice, medical advice. That's our friendly reminder that, much like our government, we don't give a shit about you. We're here to have fun. Anyways, this is crazy. And this is not the only industry that's about to start seeing impacts from the vaccine mandates. I've also seen stories about Tyson having a hard time. They're about to lose a lot of employees when their mandates kick in October 1st. And Matt, I wanted to ask you first, where do you think this is headed?
I mean, this is the breaking point, in my opinion. This is what's going to crash the economy. In a lot of ways, I mean, some people could say they're doing this on purpose because the economy's it's crashing. It's going to happen. Like you can't, you know, all this stuff can't all happen in the last couple of years and it not fucking just take a nosedive. And one of these things where it's like how do you hide some of the illegal stuff that you do, but by creating other situations in which you can blame it on, like COVID and this and that and whatever else. But this mandate thing is, I mean, to me, this is completely crazy. I don't understand, and you have a lot of people who are part of this industry who are raising questions about this because it's completely unprecedented. But it's kind of like, I mean, honestly, anyone at this point who's going to be forced to take a vaccine just to work, and like this goes back to what I was just saying before. People don't realize how captured this this government and this country are as far as the corporations go, especially the pharmaceutical companies. It's a sad day because like people are just acquiescing, their basic freedom to exist and work, just because you don't want to take a pharmaceutical product that happens to still be an experimental shot, and it's one of those things where it's like none of this has any of the criteria. And honestly, here's the deal too: if the government really wanted to instill confidence in people and in this entire process, they should have had monthly or bi-monthly kind of, some kind of press conference to show you, hey, this is where we're going. This is where we're at. These are the problems we're having. We want everybody to know, like, okay, these are the risks that are coming up, right? Where is there, why isn't there, because everyone knew from the very get-go this was an experimental drug, why isn't there any kind of program at all that it's a more robust one, since this is the first time we've injected with so many people with this particular type of technology. It's never been injected in humans. Yep. So why isn't there a system, a clear-cut system to watch and pay attention to what's happening? There is nothing like that. There's VERIS, which is all voluntary. And then after that, it's kind of like if you bring up any of these things, there was a Facebook page that had 250,000 people that were sharing their adverse events, and it got taken down. Oh, yeah. So all these people, 250,000 people that are trying to share and talk with each other are now just lost their connection. And so, I mean, look, if you're going to want to, and this is something somebody said earlier, it's like, yeah, yell at me. That's a good way to convince me. I think you said that, GW, right? And this is the same kind of deal. It's like in New York, Collen. It's like you have de Blasio. He's like, we tried to carrot, and now we're gonna have this stick. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, unbelievable the kind of language that these people are engaging in. I mean, in a lot of ways, if people don't really start to wake up to this, and I think they are, because they're gonna quit en masse on all these different companies all over the place, and what's gonna happen? Like, everything's gonna come crashing down, right? And like, they're going to be forced. The government's going to be forced to have to pull back, because how do you deal with an entire economy that crashes on itself? You know what I'm saying? Because of government action itself. These are government decisions.
You double down. That's what you do. You act like you didn't do anything wrong.
That's what they've been doing.
It's all the citizens' fault,
right?
And double down to the fact of, well, you weren't getting this. And this is coming from a dude that got the vaccine.
Right.
But you're going to double down and say it's your fault because you didn't get the vaccine. That's why our economy's and shit.
Right.
Colin looks like he totally disagrees.
I don't know, boys. I got the vaccine, and ever since then, my brain's been a little cloudy. Sorry, what are we talking about?
Well, we were talking about the. Actually, what we were really talking about, what started this whole thing, was the babies thing, and all the nurses and the medical people walking out.
Oh yeah,
because they're not going to take the jab, so now they don't have enough staff to actually be able to deliver children at the hospital now. So that's the story.
And and what's crazy, Matt, to me, I'm worried about it, because now more babies are going to be born the same way that Hickory and I were, which is in the woods.
In the woods.
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, next to a stream, to mountain gnomes.
Leaning against a tree just for leverage.
Birthing.
Did you have to climb up so that when she gave birth to you, you didn't quite hit the ground? Your tube held on like a bungee cord.
I landed on a big mushroom.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Bottom of the tree, and I just kind of bounced off of that. And that was in the magic forest where Hickory and I.
The afterbirth comes out and it becomes a giant parachute. Right. That's why we have it.
That's where I was born.
That's where we were born, in the magic forest.
Magic forest. That's how I got my powers. Speaking of superpowers, apparently we're ready to move on to the next one. Sorry, I had to duck out for a sec. Joe Biden gets trolled by school kids, but that's not the real problem with this photo op. So any of you who have not seen the photo, there's a photo of Joe Biden that was taken on September 11th Well, he was on his tour, and he happens to be surrounded by all these kids in Trump gear. And nobody in his staff caught this, considering this little dude's got a picture of Trump that says, "I'll be back." I'm not entirely sure what the unicorn one is, but I dig it like that. I wish I had a unicorn American flag shirt. I'm not going to lie. And this little girl's got a blue MAGA hat on, and this one's got a MAGA or a Trump hat on. And that's not the real issue with this photo to me. The issue with the photo to me is that my little 4-year-old niece can't talk to other kids while she's eating lunch because she has to take her mask off to eat at school. And meanwhile, our president here took his mask down off his face in a group of fucking school-age children with no masks on. And I'm having a hard time being like, dude, do you guys not care about hypocrisy and like what you're projecting at all? Like does nobody give a fuck anymore? Like, was there not a single person that works for this dude that was like, hey, maybe you should keep your mask up when you're surrounded by a bunch of little dirty kids? I mean, kids are dirty before COVID, and now they're gross. Kids are gross. I want to wear a mask around children in normal life. Even if we ever get back to a baseline normal where COVID's not a thing, I'm probably going to start masking up around children. They're gross. That's like the cause of like the most common colds in the United States is from schools. And we can see from the COVID spread in the beginning of the school year, like, dude, that happened with the common cold and the flu every year. We just noticed it this year because they were tracking the numbers because of COVID.
Dude, I literally got spit sprayed in the face by an 8-year-old girl this morning. Accident.
It makes my stomach turn just thinking about it.
It's bad right now because like in New York, I keep not timing the mask outside right. So like I keep like I keep like smelling urine. I got the mask down and I'll like inhale human urine and I'm like, oh fuck, like I wish I had the mask on right now. Like,
wait, are you sure it's not the one that you pissed on when you were drunk the night before? God damn it, Collen.
I had to explain why it followed me for 4 blocks.
I'm surprised that there's no company out that's put out like a little tiny clothes washer just for masks. You know what I mean? So you like fit 4 or 5 of them in there.
Sure it's on the way. It's on the way.
If not, it should be because the paper ones are destroying our planet.
Fuck the planet. We have COVID to worry about. God damn it.
How dare you?
One crisis at a time.
Wouldn't it be amazing if like that was like what solved the world's problems though? Like our mass filtered the oceans.
Well, they thought it
turns out all the plastics were actually filtered out of the ocean using mass.
They thought it was in the beginning. You remember all the stories right at the beginning of COVID that was like, look at this canal in Italy. We've never seen the bottom of it before. Because
nature is healing.
People aren't traveling by manpower because that's how somehow affecting when you're paddling in a canal is contributing.
Dude, there were
to global
so many
warming.
good memes. Oh my god. There was that one, like you were just saying, like the Italian, like somewhere in like Venice or something like that, and someone like photoshopped a bunch of like giant koi fish underneath or something like that. They're like, the fish have returned and the canals in Italy, nature is healing or whatever.
They put fucking dolphins in.
Yeah, that's it.
Dolphins, like dolphins are gonna be swimming up those shit canals in Venice. Like a dolphin would have any fucking desire to swim in that canal at all.
Oh no, that's funny.
You're talking about a creature smarter than us. Because I'm gonna be swimming up a shit canal anytime soon.
G-Dubs, you got anything to say on this before we move along?
Probably. Well, first off, I wanted to say, fuck Joe Biden.
Amen.
In case that hasn't been clear in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Just go on to the Hickory YouTube and you can watch my verse of a song entitled "Fuck Biden," where you can see a drunk magician who's clearly not a rapper rap a verse and destroy our president in 16 bars. It's I'm not gonna say it's my best work, but it's in the top 10% for sure.
I can't say it's his best, but I can say it's his worst.
I really want to know. First off, his staffers are fucking with him. Like,
They've got to be, right?
They have to be. Like, unless it's like the stereotypical millennial Zoomer, whatever 20-something-year-olds are now. I'm Gen X, baby. So anything below me, I don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, buddy. Me too.
Amen.
But
You're talking. This is JavaScript over here, okay? We don't know what the fuck is going on past Java. All right.
Yeah, pretty much. But like seriously, someone must be fucking with him just for that one photo op. And firstly, look at what the fucking kids are wearing. Like that's like fucking photo 101. Like, don't let that shit get taken.
Well, zoom in here.
You could click on the image. It might come. Pop up.
And then when I zoom here, I'm sorry, I'm not great with this. I'm inspect, no.
You're good.
That's fine.
We see it.
Right there.
Now I saw a previous image of this. If you see these girls, if you're looking at the picture to the left, they have hats on that are they say "Make America Great" and whatnot. What's spectacular about Joe Biden is that he came in, he saw the hat, and he went, "Cool hat, girls. What do they say? 45? Whoa, wow, I'm 46."
I'm one better.
I'm number 46, and those are 45, and that's cool. Hey, let's get in here. Why don't we get in here for a picture with all of us? And if the guy in the back, if we could get a snake around his neck, maybe if he had a snake, and maybe this one over here, this is Trump. Maybe we'll have the Trump. Like, it's like he sees it, but you just don't know if he's putting it all together. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I really feel like Biden would just be like, "What's that hat? 45? I got one like that. It says 46 on it, though."
This tweet kills me. We may not always see eye to eye, but we can all come together to be united. My daughter Riley is supporting her blue Trump hat. She's the one right over here in the photo.
But here's what I want to know. I don't even know how to express this in words, but I really want to know: are all of these children the same family?
I mean, it very well could be. It's only 3 of them.
Like, wouldn't you find the one Hispanic kid and try to throw them in that photo?
Well, believe it or not, it goes. That kind of stuff goes quick. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, the president.
Who do you think
boom, boom, boom.
Who do you think was taking the picture, GW?
That would be the Asian kid.
I hate to say this. I hate to point this out now that you bring it up, but the only diversity in this entire photo is a Secret Service member right over here.
Happened to be the Asian guy.
Yeah, happened to be the Asian
guy. He's just waiting to have to break some 12-year-old's fucking leg.
Everyone's fighting my ass, motherfuckers.
Like, I'm dealing with a 9-year-old Trumper. I might have to break his fucking femur. I don't.
Well, if he touches my legs, leave him alone. I got hairy legs. That's glow bright in the sun.
Yeah, that's right.
But it was crazy.
I think I do have to mention, though. I mentioned it earlier before we got on live, but the best meme I saw from this was something like Biden knows he's being punked, but the smell is too good, or something like that.
And unfortunately, this was not the only Biden troll that happened on 9/11. But unfortunately, we don't have time to cover everything that happens, because if we covered everything that happened in this administration or the last, that's all we would do 24/7.
Or the one before that.
Yeah, or any of the garbage presidents that have served since I was born. Anyway, I'll move right into the last one. Matt, we're not keeping you too late, right? We're
you're
running
good.
a little over.
You're
Okay,
good.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't keeping you from responsibilities because I don't really know what those are. So the second to last one, comedy isn't dying, but apparently this show's immense privilege is. GW found this story to which I was aghast. Like I was like, I know that there's a anti. There's this view that stand-up comedy is misogynist in nature, but I've never experienced it. And like I don't get it. Anyways, basically, this is a product of the website Medium. This is Christina Ouch, who apparently is a comic of Latin or Hispanic descent. She says stand-up comedy is not dying or privileges. If I had a nickel for every time a white male comics explained to me what, quote, real comedy is, unquote, I'd remain crushed in lower middle class under the weight of the institutional systems of oppression that limit Hispanics females' earning power to that of 62 cents to the dollar. In other words, white male comics have become the self-appointed ambassadors of maintaining the sanctity of comedy. They wax poetic about how stand-up today is too politically correct, too serious, too analytical. In fact, the backlash against one of the most popular stand-up comedy specials of all time, Nanette, centered on the argument that it was not, quote, technically stand-up. Critics agreed that Hannah Gadsby can pontificate on comedy's limitations and society's moral failings in a humorous manner at her leisure, but don't classify it as stand-up comedy, separate but equal. Sounds familiar. Colin, have you seen this special? Or you know what they're talking about when they talk about Nanette?
Who's the comic in special?
Hannah Gadsby.
Have you seen it, G-Dubs?
No.
I've seen pieces of it. I haven't seen the entire thing because I don't feel like cutting my wrists.
Is it? But is it stand-up?
She's standing up.
Okay.
like literally, like she's talking into a microphone standing up.
Okay. So it is presented as a stand-up special?
Technically,
Yeah.
then.
Well, I don't know.
Jokes, which she doesn't really do. Like she does occasionally, but for the most part, like it's dramatic. It's a dramatic piece. I wouldn't call it a tragedy, like in the Greek sense.
Are you implying that a certain unnamed drunk magician might perform more jokes in his magic sets than some stand-up comedians?
I would say that my dog farting could be funnier than someone's stand-up set.
I agree. Colin, as a guy who books, I mean, especially like because you've had the experience of New York in the stand-up comedy realm, is like misogyny still a big deal down in the city? Like, is it that you find that I find, and I just want to put it out there, I don't mean any offense in anything I say. I find that more dudes don't give a shit about what people think about them and therefore willing to put themselves out there than the female friends in my life. Because I have a lot of really funny female friends who have been like, I want to do stand-up. And I'm like, okay, write some jokes and I'll drag your ass to the club and we'll do it. And we'll throw an open mic or whatever. But they get like, no, people are going to judge me. And I'm like, that wasn't even a thought the first time I wandered on stage. It was more like, am I going to get kicked out of the bar for saying some of this shit, or is it going to be all right? That was my thought. I didn't care about what people thought about it. I was like, I'm here to deliver 7 minutes of some heinous shit I wrote. Let's do this.
I mean, New York, like comedy, and New Jersey, and like the whole kind of area, as well as Boston, was like, to do the grind of performing all these clubs every night, late at night, around a lot of people are drinking. It takes a certain type of toughness, or it did, for a lot of women to like be able to, thrive in that sort of thing. And there was a lot of male-dominated clubs, and there was a lot of men who were really shallow and did bookings and expected, if there was a young, beautiful woman and they wanted, things that they were, like I've heard a lot of different things from girls saying that different producers asking them to send them inappropriate pictures and different things like that. So there was like a lot of that did exist for a long time. I think it turned a lot of women off, rightfully so, to the scene because it was not a good scene. And now what I think has happened is there's more room for women to be able to produce and to do their own thing and to get their voice and their point of view out there, which there have always been women in comedy, but it's, I would say in general, I don't know the actual numbers, but it's generally a male dominated field. And to your point, Kyle, it is difficult for me. Like, I know female comics, but I don't know as many female comics as I do men. You know what I mean? And even I'm someone, like, I went to a show that's called Drool, that's produced by two young women. It's it's a female heavy show. And like sometimes even when I go out to sometimes like shows like that early on, I went to go support a lot of female shows, and it was almost like, well, why is the straight white male like these shows? And you're like, well, I'm here to support it and like to try to support the thing, you know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those things where, you know, the scene's growing. I think that there's more women now doing comedy, and I think that there's more trans comics, there's more gay comics, there's more people who I feel like have perhaps in the past didn't have the same voice that they do now. I think that today they're getting a lot more time, but I don't think as like if you're a white male comic, I would say that like there's still room for you too. You don't have to be like scared. I don't think anyone has to be scared.
It's stand up.
Yeah,
everyone's gonna fail. Just go into it. Anticipating you suck, and you'll be fine.
I would say the biggest thing that's probably changed in comedy is like it used to be a lot more freedom to make fun of other people, to do a lot of race-based comedy, to make fun of the guy who is your Chinese deli guy, and make fun of your Mexican super, and to kind of like make fun of the people in your life, especially in New York, because New York, there's 850 languages spoken here, and it used to always be okay to joke around about each other's languages.
And there's characters everywhere in the city.
Yeah, and you could talk about the characters. Today, it's like, oh, that's race-based humor. Don't talk about these things. So that's like something that's changed. But I would say the biggest tone is people want to hear you talking about yourself and talking about like your point of view. And if you have an interesting point of view, if you're someone who's gay and they're talking about the unique point of view that they had growing up, there's just things that people want to hear. There's just stories that people want to hear being told. So the more unique your story is, the more people probably want to hear it, you know? And so I think that's the general tone today versus, you know, and if you're a straight white male and it's not an interesting story, then people might not want to hear it. But if you make it interesting, like there's one comic in New York who's a very good looking straight white man who looks like Zach Morris, and he makes fun of himself for looking like Zach Morris, and he makes fun of these things, and he makes fun of that point of view, and he lives up to it, and there's room for him to do his thing as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's all just being true to yourself, I guess.
Matt, what do you got? You got any thoughts?
I didn't read the article, so I don't really know what much of the content.
It's pretty bad.
I assume it's going. It's just taking this whole idea to the whole other extreme.
It's basically I am oppressed by dudes who run comedy, and it's like I've never.
So here's the deal. This is my opinion on this, and this is my opinion on these kinds of things. It's that no matter what period of time or whatever else, like life is not easy, and people need to stop bitching about it not being easy for them, because that's part of the fucking process of learning and actually going through the process of failing, but also going through the process of, like, especially in comedy and in artwork, in art of any kind, like, you know, like the thing is people concentrate a lot on, let's say, the fruit of their labors, right? Rather than realizing that the fruit exists in the actual labor itself, right? Yep. And so comedians and people and artists and filmmakers of all kinds, whatever else, like they, in many ways, they inhibit themselves from being a much better artist because they have to think themselves into this box or out of the box, depending on who you are. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, it's, you know, the whole idea of the competitiveness of it. And I think, you know, Collen, I think you spoke a little bit of this. I mean, and you know about how competitive it is in clubs, especially in bigger cities. I can see why it would be more difficult for, you know, women to make it in a lot of these things, because it really is insanely competitive. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not aggressive, then you're not going to go anywhere. And a lot of people, like, they just think they're, I'll just get this one break and then I'll be this or whatever else. And that's the thing I've heard from so many people over the past 20 years. And it's kind of like, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? Like, you have to like work hard at it and build, you have to build something. Like,
the fucking grind.
Yeah, it's a grind. And, but the thing is, if you don't love the grind, then it shows.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you don't love the grind, then it shows, and that's the thing. It's like, and so people like this who write these kind of articles, these are the kind of people whose entire life purpose is to analyze these things in these little viewpoints and these little prisms. And unfortunately, it doesn't really take us anywhere. And that's one of those things that I think that's what's interesting about critical theory in general, is that, you know, we can sit here and pick apart any system, any person, any kind of thing, and just show how wrong everything is and how screwed up all is. But until people like start offering solutions, then like, what's the point of constantly pointing at?
Yeah, if we can't fix it, why are we complaining about it?
Well, it's part of it, but it's like, you know, there's a certain point where we have to stop complaining about it and actually start to think about solutions that make sense, rather than superficial band-aids.
As angry as I was at this article suggesting that our show somehow has an easy time of breaking through because it's hosted by 3 white straight males, I was a little bit upset by the end of it. And then to the fucking icing on the cake is GW sent me this last night. So Christina Ouch shared a link, and in this link she says, hopefully now that Norm Macdonald has died, there can be more space for women. That misogynist Joe Rogan-esque stand-up comics like him have disenfranchised for decades. And at that point, I'm just like, at this point, you're just trying to make a name.
Christina.
But I mean, it's like they write these articles to create a business line for themselves.
You're standing on this dude's grave with a fucking flag that says, "Hey, I'm a good comic too." Like,
in your
fuck
hand,
you.
Christina. You are holding your dick in your hand, Christina. Christina, on Norm's grave, pissing on his fucking grave before the grass is grown, Christina.
I don't think it's a mistake. Her last name is Ouch.
Yeah. Ouch. Ouch, Christina.
Gentlemen. The thing I want to say is it's a fucking Medium article. Like, fuck you. Like there is no editorial content towards Medium. Like
True that.
Anyone, and I myself, a fucking jackass, can produce a fucking Medium article.
Well, I will remember that when you 100%. Die, GW. I'll remember that when you die, and you're dead, and on Medium they're comparing you to Joe Rogan and Norm Macdonald, taking a piss on your fucking grave.
That would be phenomenal. I'd be so excited if I got compared with them, even if it was just like he was even if they called me all the worst names in the book, dude. Like, they were like, he's a white supremacist fucking bigot who is anti-vax, but he was just like Joe Rogan. I'd be like, you know what? I won. I think I won. I'm gonna say that last little bit superseded everything beforehand, and I don't care. I won. If you said like Doug Stanhope, I'd be totally cool with that too.
That reminds me of that Chappelle sketch about the blind white supremacist.
Yeah, I love that
and
one.
He comes up to the car full of white kids, and he's like, hey, you N-words, like, turn that music down. And the kids were like, did you just call us N-words? And like, yeah, you know, that kind of thing. Like, it's very much in the same kind of line.
Jason just commented, drunk magician. Thank you, Jason. I love it. On YouTube, Sean Henry, who showed up last week. Thank you for showing up again randomly on our feed,
What
Sean.
up, Sean?
I think he was setting up a joke at 9:14 about 5 minutes ago. He said a skeleton walks into a bar, orders 2 drinks and a mop. You guys know the punchline?
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing. He tries to drink it, but there's nothing to hold the water.
Apparently, this was Al Pacino's favorite joke, where he would just, I can't remember, someone did a movie with him, and he'd be like, and Pacino would always go, a skeleton walks into a bar, orders 2 drinks and a mop.
He also commented, said, if they said I was like Phyllis Diller, I would be extremely excited.
You are in my book.
John, you have the looks of Phyllis Diller.
That's right. And a cock twice the size. We're gonna cover our last one. I don't know, Sean. I'm speculating. That's some big dick energy he's putting out in the world. Last one of the night. Bee of the week. I pulled up an article, but it was really just an article to segue. When the fuck did George Bush become a media sweetheart? I don't understand what happened, but the B article, guy who started 2 wars calls for civility. In a stirring speech at the Flight 93 memorial yesterday, some guy who started 2 wars called for more civility. Yes, I may have started 2 foreign wars on false pretenses that wasted trillions of dollars and killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people, said the guy whose name we can't remember at the moment.
Millions.
However, it's important to understand the real threats to our great nation are the people who took selfies in the Capitol building a few months ago. Those Trump supporters are children of the same foul spirit as Al-Qaeda, and they must be brought to justice. The Trump supporters who had sent sons and daughters to fight and die in this guy's war for 20 years in exchange for being insulted, mistreated, pushed from their manufacturing jobs called racist, responded to the speech in a very frightening and uncivil way by saying, boo. Thanks to sweeping Intrusive Patriot Act surveillance measures enacted by the Texas-sounding guy on stage, the evil, uncivil hecklers were discovered and quickly detained by FBI and thrown in a prison awaiting trial, maybe in 2 to 10 years. President Biden was reportedly so inspired by the speech, they ordered another drone strike of foreign aid workers in Afghanistan. Another fucking amazing article.
That one's a little too close to the truth.
That's the issue with the Babylon Bee, is that they hit real close to home, especially with the drone stories.
Yeah, well, that's the last drone story where they went after somebody, they droned somebody because of the bombing that happened or whatever. Turns out he was an actual U.S. aid worker.
Yeah,
and they killed him and his whole family or whatever.
And that story happened to drop the morning of September 11th. I'm pretty sure it was like, "Hey, good news, guys! This happy pullout day."
Yeah. But, I don't know how G.W. Bush got. I did start seeing it in social media a couple years back when people really got a hold of the TDS, serious Trump derangement syndrome, and I just started seeing one person after another just being like, "Oh yeah, I really like George W. Bush so much better." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, this dude killed literally millions of people. Like
this is
like what the fuck?
This is what he did. That and I can't remember, someone described Hillary Clinton this way. And the reason I had a disdain for Hillary Clinton was she never went away. She always was there. She ran. Then she became, fucking was appointed secretary. And she never went away. Bush had the smarts.
Right. To disappear.
To just have Obama come in.
10 years.
Not petition anything Obama said. Let Obama do whatever he wanted. Never said anything. And then actually, he didn't come out till Trump was in office.
Yep, exactly.
And all of a sudden, he comes out and he starts saying, I got to be honest with you. I don't like the racism. I don't like his tone. I don't like his act. Holy shit. You're talking poorly about a Republican. Clearly, you must have some type of be smarter than that guy.
Well, Republican who used to be a Democrat, though.
Right.
Well, and
Uniparty all the way.
And said by a Republican who's a war-thirsty neocon.
But if he had at any point come out and said anything about Obama while he was in office, it would have undermined the whole thing.
Yeah, it would have been bad for him.
And then all of a sudden comes out and everyone loved him.
Yeah, I'm painting.
You notice though, like, I mean, you're going back many, many presidents. None of this kind of like my former president talked shit about the other president ever really happened up until this past 4 years. You never saw this kind of stuff ever. It's just like people they would go and they would shut the fuck up, and that was the way it was. And but then after when they lost the election in 2016, it was crazy. And I think a lot of that has to do with the GW. I think you're around my age too, right? It's like you remember in 2000 when they lost the election, and it was all about blaming Ralph Nader for like 8 years, and it was kind of like it was this total bullshit excuse because they couldn't accept the fact that like they either lost
Al
or
Gore was
from them.
Terrible fucking.
It was horrible, exactly. Yeah. And it was like, oh, it's Nader's fault. Like how? And they did everything they could to try to prove that. And then all they did for 8 years was repeat it. And people, this is what I mean. This is not a surprise to me what's going on, because for 8 years, people repeated this. And for the longest time, it was like this thing where everybody just accepted it, to the point where in 2004, it was on Bill Maher's show, Bill Maher and Michael Moore got on their knees and begged Nader not to run because they still blamed him for losing the 2000 election.
Well, it's if you go back even a little bit further during the Clinton Bush election, everyone blamed H. Ross Perot for the Bush loss.
That's right.
Which, if Bush had better positions other than I saved Kuwait, and by the way, let me just say two things. First off, every time someone says GW talking about Bush, I go, what?
I know. I just thought about that as soon as I said it.
And secondly, fuck George Bush.
Goddamn right.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Like I said it about Biden, I will say it about Bush. Fuck him.
Fuck all of them.
By the way, can we talk about the Patriot Act for a second?
The Freedom Act? It's called the Freedom Act now.
Today I learned, this was the other day, that Biden authored the Patriot Act, and then it got shelved and then put into practice under Bush.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the 90s, he did this, by the way.
And so no surprise to me that Patriot Act 2.0 is working, and they would really love to call a bunch of grannies that storm the Capitol with little flags.
Well, I mean, look at this. The $600 for your paycheck, your accounts. They want to censor your direct messages to people if they don't like.
Yeah, that was crazy one too. The text message one was fucking nuts.
The vaccine passport and this whole thing is all just
the messaging thing.
Biden put pressure on AT&T and Verizon to censor private text messages if there was, quote, medical disinformation.
That's right.
Meaning, if I sent you a text that Big Pharma didn't agree with, even if it was as I think the new treatment is going to turn you into an ostrich, that they could block a text message, not a message on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or some other big corporation that is protected as a publisher, even though they're supposed to be a platform. Regulated fucking service, like phones are supposed to be the phone service is supposed to be a utility.
That's right.
Which means you can't shut it off on people for their views, their beliefs, no matter how extreme. They're now pushing for medical disinformation, the ability to literally not allow me to send you a text message.
Well, it's even worse than that, actually, because when you think about it, in order for them to feasibly be able to do this, that means they have to be live listening to you in some way all the time. That's what I'm saying. They already are. But the difference is that they have to actually implement a system in which, as soon as you start talking about it, like they sit you off to the side, and then then whatever else happens. Because that's what I'm saying. This whole thing has been a slow creep this entire time, most of our lives, and most people haven't paying attention to it. But the whole Patriot Act thing. That's a great example. When you brought that up, because that was in the 90s when they brought that up, and everyone in America was like, "Fuck you! Who the fuck do you think you are?" And then 9/11 happened, and then boom, that just drops right in the perfect place, whatever else, and that's what I think is so funny is that I think the funny thing is that people lost the fact that these two parties are really truly, two sides of the same coin for most part. You know what I mean? Like you can't, and when people are sitting here defending each party as if it's like their church or their cult or something like that, it goes to show you how completely lost some of these people are. Like the logic is gone. Like you can't, you know what I'm saying? It's just like if something's wrong, even though it goes against your political whatever, like as a person, can a person really work through that? Or has so much of the population been just so totally inundated with this like bullshit media culture of what is it? Just reality television type of crap. That's what literally everything. This whole thing is just like one big reality television show. Every time the media goes off on something, it's some dumbass emotional reality television moment, and it's like, oh, did you see so and so did on the Real House, White House, or whatever? You know what I mean? It's like this is what we're living through. And another thing about the dress the AOC wore, this is a great example of how they're using that same kind of shit as a way to pump the same kind of bullshit, like emotional news that isn't news. It's not news. Like it doesn't make any difference to anyone's life that this woman wore a dress in front of a bunch of rich people that all knew exactly what she was doing. Every one of those rich people knew what she was doing. They know what's up. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me a break.
It's like someone who's never gonna pay anything in taxes looks at her dress and goes, "Yes, I love what you've done.
Yes, I love what you're doing. Exactly.
Is that Vera Wang? Oh,
yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. It's like they have all these accounts in whatever kind of islands, and these people will never pay. They already have a system set up for that shit. So like they don't give a flying fuck about whether or not she wears it. It's all just dramedy.
Theater.
Coming for your $600, Matt. That's who's gonna pay.
I don't actually have a bank account, so they can go fuck themselves.
Before we get out of here, last comment. Howard Dean. Just a friendly reminder that back in what was that, 2010, 2012?
Yeah.
Howard Dean's entire political career was derailed with a bah.
Yeah. It wasn't a bah. It was a
2004.
Yeah, that was way before that.
It was
that was like
was that 2004?
2004.
Yeah.
His entire political career got derailed by that, and now we're at a spot where we've literally had a president say some of the most blatantly racist shit I've ever heard in my life on live television, and people pretended it didn't fucking exist. The fucking window shifted so bad in the past. Another perspective is that in 15 years ago, Obama and Hillary both said that marriage was between a man and a woman.
That's right.
And now Joe Biden couldn't say that he doesn't think 8-year-olds should be allowed to have surgery to correct their gender. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's a big fucking shift in 15 years, kids.
You know what? Yeah.
Buckle up. Because we are shifting culturally real fucking fast right now. We're in hyperdrive.
And
it makes me nervous that we're looking towards the end of the road soon.
I mean, I think in a lot of ways, though, the hyperdrive thing is what's going to be its downfall, because a lot of this stuff is happening too quickly. And
it'll slowly just break into pieces because it's going too fast.
Because the reason why we haven't noticed like the takeover of so much of the stuff is because it's going to slow drip. You know what I mean? They go in and like you don't even hear about it, but they'll go in and like take out like some kind of regulation about like say antitrust laws, which they've been doing for decades. And so now antitrust laws have nothing. They've been hollowed out completely. But nobody knows that, you know what I mean? And like it's been going on for years. But when you do stuff too quickly and people they don't get the chance to like slowly acclimate it in their lives or whatever else, that's when you're going to get these pushbacks, because it's too much, too fast. And people are like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then after that, when they step back, that's when they start to make connections. And then after that, they've lost the battle. So it's like, that's the problem about that. It's like gambling, man. You can't tip your hand too quick, So.
Nick said, good show as always. Sean had an excellent comment. Sean, thank you for commenting this. He said, I would love to see that an academy of idiocy and hypocrisy have a giant building filled with wax characters that have ruined our country. You push a button in front of the display for all the details.
Do the one he just did.
Okay. Can I pre-order? Can I pre-order a bunk in the concentration camp, and do you get special privileges for booking early? And that's part of my issue is I'd like to think that maybe I could be an officer or something, at least be responsible for the cleanliness of my my subdivided area. But I don't know. At least when I get to hell, I'll have a nice corner office because I made these jokes before it happened, and I'll be continuing to laugh afterwards while I'm losing my humanity. That's pretty much it. We're fucking 35 minutes over. This has been a fun show, Matt. Thank you for being on. Any plugs you want to throw out before we get on the road?
I mean, basically, just you guys want to catch some of our older stuff on Socially Irresponsible on YouTube. That's pretty much where you find us. We're also on Facebook as well. So
there's some amazing gems in there.
Yeah, there are some really funny
absolutely amazing stuff. Collen, you have anything to get off your chest and any plugs before we get up out?
Nope. Got a live show, almost a month from today, October 16th at the Comedy Club in Bridgewater.
Nice.
So spread the word. Got some comics that are going to be headlining from New York City. So
nice. Probably also more to come after that. I feel like the 30th, we should probably do something on that Saturday for Halloween, and because the Drunken Underwhelming would like to get dressed up and come perform magic. I think I haven't done it in a while because I moved, and now that the studio is it's a quarter there. For those who didn't know, there's been big moves going on behind the scenes, and we finally got a second camera set up so we can do that thing over here. That's eventually going to be on the second stage so I can stand and perform there, and it will be properly lit and stuff. But we're getting there, and it's been a long process. But thank you guys for being here with me on the ride. There were some weird shows at the hotel, and I got yelled at a lot by the beautiful assistant. But now she is 68 feet away on the other side of the house, so nobody can hear me. And we're going to foam the entire room so I can yell, and it'll be fun. Sean said, thank you guys. See you on the next outing. Sean, thank you for dropping by. We appreciate it, man. We really appreciate everybody who comes out to the show. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Nick. And then also to the beautiful assistant. There's a couple other comments in there. Dwayne, thank you for coming out. We appreciate the support, guys. And was there any plugs, G-Dubs? Did we go through that?
Foley Kills the Podcast on YouTube. Look at GW Foley.
Episode 20 this Monday because it's right on schedule with the Drunken Under Quarantine show. It helps me keep it right. Also, a quick shout out to the McTaggart Attack podcast Wednesday mornings. What's pissing you off Wednesdays? It's my shower jam. I'm not going to lie. I've really been enjoying listening to Kevin bitch about stuff while I'm sudsing up in the morning. As weird as that sounds. What were you going to say, G-Dubs?
I was going to say it's no longer the McTaggart Attack podcast. It is strictly What's Pissing You Off Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
What's Pissing You Off Wednesday,
which is a great title, and he actually does What's Pissing You Off, not What's Pissing Him Off. And you get to write in, and it's a great thing to have the angriest comic in Vermont get to rant for you, because a lot of people don't have the ability to be funny and rant; they just sound like assholes. So you get to have Kevin do it for you. And
I've heard many of Kevin's rants.
I enjoy them, even when I'm sitting there like, Kevin, you're fucking wrong. I'm enjoying the hell out of his rants. And
I enjoy him, especially when he's ranting that I'm a fucking lazy ass.
Yeah, when he told you to get off your ass and start moving around. Yep. Nope. There's been many moments on the What's Pissing You Off Wednesdays where I'm like, fuck you, Kevin. But I love you, brother. I really enjoy it. So keep the good work up. And that's the beauty of being someone like me, G-Dubs, Collen. We might not like something, but we can still appreciate it. And unlike some snooty comic from Medium who bitched about Norm Macdonald, Norm Macdonald, rest in peace, brother. We appreciate everything you did. And
which, by the way, I tried looking up this person's as a comic to see if there's anything on this person, and I found nothing.
Really? They weren't on 1 or 2 or 4 seasons of SNL, huh?
No, nothing like that. Yeah, not even like a YouTube video or a picture or anything, profile, comedy or nothing. Nothing.
I'm afraid, Matt, that's
Never,
because
never shot a 1 hour special. No?
I'm pretty sure that's because her comedy career just started by taking shots at Norm Macdonald. Yeah, that was
yeah.
and she just happened to play it lucky
Here's
that
my
she wrote this
opening
article.
salvo.
She wrote this article last week, and now she gets to tie it into Norm, and now it's like this is the beginning of her career. So maybe we'll have her on the show at some point, and we can tell her how much.
Let's reach out to her.
Yeah, we should
that
have her
would
on
be
the show.
so great. That would be so great. And then I would love to just absolutely fucking destroy her.
Don't say that on the stream, dude. You say that after the stream. You know.
Oh yeah, right. After the stream.
Well, she doesn't think it's real. That's just his white male privilege talking because he's a patriarchal.
White male privilege is about to fucking destroy you. And what I love about this attitude is it's like someone who's never made a movie before. And as Matt knows, as a filmmaker, it's supremely difficult to make a movie, supremely challenging.
It's hard to make a bad movie,
and some
let alone a good one.
Star Wars, and they'll like shit on the Star Wars and be like, "Fucking J.J. Abrams," but it's like, go make a Star Wars. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes. I don't give a shit how bad a fucking Star Wars film is. You know how hard it would be to make a fucking 2-hour Star Wars movie,
or just about a 2-hour comedy in some like fucking neighborhood, like
just making a movie.
Yeah, with free sets where it's all shot outside in the middle of nowhere, and you don't have any cost other than having an actor and a camera guy there, and a boom and a director. It still sucks.
I don't give a shit how bad a movie is. I'd be like, that movie was fucking terrible, but they made a movie. You know? Right. Somehow they pulled it together. You know what I mean?
I like to remember to thank every shitty movie I watch at the end of it, just to be like, hey, you know what? I didn't enjoy this, but I respect the art. I respect the craft. And I feel that way about music sometimes, unless it's mumble rap, and then fuck yourself, because nobody should be listening to that shit. If you're listening,
Gucci gang.
Anyways, that's it for episode 20 of the Drunken Under Quarantine show. Thank you guys for joining us. Matt, Ferguson, thank you for being on the couch. We appreciate it.
For having me.
We're going to turn it into a casting couch eventually once we get on that OnlyFans thing, but it's not today or tomorrow. We're still working on it. Collen, G-Dubs, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you next week where, oh shit, I just had it pulled up too. I can't remember. Next week, the guest... Is it Ryan?
I think it's Ryan.
Nice. Next week, September 22nd. Episode 21, Ryan Kenyon will be on the show, and we have booked out for the next 2 months. We're starting to book in November. And,
love Ryan.
And Matt, we'll have to have you back on more often, sir, because once a season is not fucking cutting it, bro.
Well, hopefully we'll get some comedy going, and maybe I'll have something to share with you guys. So.
Yeah. And who knows? I'm at some point when things kind of open back up, I'd like to start doing some live stuff and getting that. Doing the stream/live thing seems like a really good idea in the future. So we could figure that out. And even if you couldn't make it, we might be able to digitally bring you in, which would be really cool.
Right.
And but that's all I got. This, of course, has been the Drunken Under Quarantine show, presented to you by the Woolen Comedy Club. And I am, of course, Hickory, the Drunken Underwhelming, imploring you all to stay safe, stay drunk, stay underwhelming. Most importantly, in these trying times, stay sane and try not to kill your neighbor. Because remember, as bad as it is, he's probably not George Bush. Cheers.
And so I didn't get a chance to take my pants off.